To our fellow cleaning professionals, we know our industry does not get a lot of respect. We're so glad you're here. We make this free content for you. We understand the challenges of the industry. If you've gotten value out of this, please subscribe. And for those business owners you know, team members you know, share this podcast with them. We're so grateful, and let's get back to the doc. Joel, we're back, and we're going to hit a topic that is near and dear to both of our hearts. How much to give away?
That was close.
Get up off the floor, Joel. As you and I have both qualified customers and gotten to know prospects over the years, there's a tendency to have conversation. You learn a little bit about each other. And in the course of doing that, you are displaying knowledge of certain issues. You might even propose a change. But as we talk about that, there's a danger. You're handing them your knowledge.
Yes.
How do you decide how much to give away?
That's a really good question, Ray.
I always try to ask really good questions, Joel.
Boy, you always have good questions every podcast for me. And the answer is it depends. It's a vague type question. I know some people say, well, no, that's pretty direct. But there's so many variables.
So what hits you first?
The first variable to me is what is the potential size of the contract just in your head? And that could be either how many locations do they have? How big is the building? How many employees do they employ? What's their geographic region? Things like that. So as we talked before this, there's a potential client that I have given a fair amount of information to over the course of the past few years. And we do quite a bit of business with them over the course of the years too, and still do quite a bit of business. But there's still a lot to grow. Mm-hmm. But it's the knowledge that I bring that they keep realizing that we should eliminate the housekeeping department that we have in this building and turn it over to Joel's company because he is more knowledgeable than the people that we have in place already, and his staff in the other locations seem to be better trained, more knowledgeable, so they kind of get to see everything firsthand. But if a 3,000 square foot facility were to ask me, I'm not going to be anywhere near giving if that's their only location.
Now, for some folks, that's going to sound utterly self-serving.
I'm sure it does.
And quite frankly, for those other folks, if that's you, it needs to be. As business owners, you are not only paying yourself, assuming that you have employees or contractors, you're paying them too. Part of what you're safeguarding is your ability to continue your business.
You have to be able to continue to grow. As they say, if you're not growing, you're dying. So you have to have things in your funnel constantly. And part of how you do that is you attract the types of clients that you want, and how you do that is through some of the knowledge you have. Some people would even say I'm crazy for doing a podcast and giving the information out that I have so far through the first, 30 plus programs that we've already done. And that's true, but that's not all the special sauce. That's some of it. And you can probably, win some contracts based off of some of the information given or whatever, but there's always more. And that's what you want clients to realize is that you can do so much more for them. Mm-hmm. I had a client that came on board a little over a year ago. They had the same contractor there for quite some time, and they were a manufacturing firm, and they were having some issues with quality assurance on the product that they were shipping. They called me in, and I looked at the facility, and I asked them what were all their issues and why were they, looking for another contractor, because they had the other contractor in there for more than 5 years. So they downloaded and told me all of the issues that they were having, and they gave me a scope of work to bid on. And the first thing I did was I looked at the scope just generally sitting at the table, and I said, how important is the scope of work to you? And they go, why? I says, everything that you told me, the scope of work doesn't fix. So the person said, go ahead and rework it.
How long have they been using the scope of work again?
The contractor at the time was there 5+ years.
Okay, so half a decade.
Half a decade.
All right.
For whatever reason, they were starting to look at other vendors at this point. So I went back and I really reworked the whole scope of work. It had a lot more meat on the bones. It had a lot more, looking into the fine detail cleaning that needed to be done on a daily basis in order to reduce all of the problems that they had. And you got to put money at problems in order to fix the problems. So the end result is that they could have more product that was able to be sold out to their clients.
But I would also imagine that doing that eliminates some special projects that were or sometimes urgent because they had to address issues. Okay.
I'm sure, because when you increase cleaning specifications and you're not really looking at a cleaning for appearance and you're looking more at cleaning for health and things like that, you are trying to stay on top of some of the project work before it needs to be done. So yes, there's a little bit more that can be made, but we were also working longer hours than the other person was. We increased the scope of work on a lot, and that was giving them the entire program. Well, they went back to their other vendors 7 times and had them try to rework it based on the scope of work. And their vendor said, oh, no, that's too beefy. And that's, you're never going to get the results that you want so they always had a reason why they didn't want to change things around. Well, they eventually went with me after going back to my competitor 7 times, and they finally signed a contract with us, and they haven't been sorry since. They were a little bit intimidated by the price. There was a lot of pushback on the front from their upper management because it was a huge increase in costs. But in the end result, everything I said that was going to happen by an increase in frequencies and the increase in task and frequencies happened, and they ended up with more product being able to go to market. And because they had less error rates, they were buying less raw material, so their profit margins started going up based off of doing something the right way. How much information do you want to give away? Well, that company's growing. They've added more space. We're doing more space than what we were doing when we originally walked into the place. So they're growing as a result of us being proactive for them, because now they have a more marketable product. So it's a win-win when you're doing things for the right reasons, and that is we want our clients to make money.
So to the cleaning company owner who's listening in, Joel has just shared a lot of information with you. And if you would like to be able to use this, I'm going to transition from the service side to the consulting side. If you really want to learn how to turn this opportunity into something viable for you, as well as something very serviceable for your manufacturing customers, for other customers who will benefit from a cleaner space, a better handled space, you need to contact this guy. Joel, thank you.
And thank you, and you're welcome.